Alrighty, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a hot minute since we made a video. I've been flat out with work and all of that other good stuff, but we're back, we're making a video. Drifting's just around the corner again. I haven't touched the S14 since the last event. It's been pushed in the side and put the cover over and has not been looked at. So we're gonna pull her out, pull her in here, put her on the hoist. We're gonna be stiffening up this rear end, so let's get right into it. Alrighty, first start since we unloaded it off the trailer. Got the car in the air, emission as always. So yeah, basically just gonna drop the whole subframe out. I got some things I want to do, I'll talk about that shortly, but you can see that knuckle, clean snap, that's not ideal. This pickup's the tiniest bit twisted, it's not too bad. But yeah, I'm gonna just get the subframe out of here. We've got axle grease in here, it's pretty gross, but unbolt the drive shaft, the brake lines, the coilovers, and then just these 4 pickup points for the subframe. It's not too hard. I've got the solid subframe bushings in there, solid diff bushings. I've had the subframe out once before, but yeah, we're gonna pull it out. We're gonna weld in some reinforcement plates and a bit of an axle upgrade and whatnot. Alright, I got basically everything unhooked. Exhaust is off, coilovers are off. Started undoing this just to make sure I can get the knuckle off, because sometimes you need the weight of the car to pop that ball joint out, but she's all good, so pretty messy under here, it's pretty gross, but
27 hearts beat.
the thing's heavy. She's out. How good. Push her outside. I'll give it a degrease and a blast, and then we'll start looking at strengthening this rear end up. Wasn't too bad. Only took like under 2 hours, so can't complain. Going back in, it's probably gonna be a different story. But yeah, degrease and pressure wash, because it is absolutely filthy. Gave the subframe a little bit of a squirt, a little bit cleaner, a bit of a degrease. Got the axles out, got the diff out. And I've just pulled the knuckle off. So here's our old one. As you can see, cactus, absolutely cooked from snapping the axle and the axle catching on something and then ripping on it. I think that's what happened. So here we got another knuckle. It's an R33 one, but it's the same shit. As you can see, we got the dual caliper GK Tech bracket on there. So this one's been cut. You cut these tabs off for the old calipers, so for clearance and stuff. So I'm going to cut these ones, bolt that on, and then I can get that bolted back in. Once I get that back in, I got this GK Tech reinforcement kit for the subframe. So I'm going to weld all of this in, beef her up a little bit. That's our first thing to be beefing her up. Alright, got the knuckle in. I'm not like going to be painting everything and making everything real nice. This is just the thrash car. Smack it together type deal. But yeah, going to do the job. Now I'm going to look at putting these reinforcement plates in various different spots. So I'm going to sit them on, mark where I need to take the paint off to weld, and then weld them in. There's a fair few to put in, so it's going to be a little bit to it, but try to get it all smashed out. Alright, after a lot of welding, grinding, wire wheeling, we finally have all the reinforcement bits welded into the subframe. It was a little bit more involved than I was hoping, but there's some there, under there, those arms there. Anywhere else? Yeah, so got all that in the GK Tech kit. I'm just going to give it a quick slap of paint. It's not going to be too special or anything. This car really is just a thrash missile car slash this and that. At some point one day I would do either, I want to build another car, ground up drift car, and do it really right. Like sequential, everything you can put in it. So I'm either going to rebuild this from a bare shell up again or get a new chassis and do that. But right now with this thing, it's just a thrash car, so nothing's going to be too nice on this one. But yeah, going to give it a quick lick of black paint and start putting it back together. Alrighty, so while the paint's drying on that, the next thing we're going to be doing to beef up the rear end in this thing is we're going to be doing 350Z axles. So I've got the axles over here, just bought them from a wreckers, still got to buy another set for spares. So these two here, 350Z axles, they've got these 6 bolts on them, and the CVs in these are pretty cool compared to these. If I remember, I'll chuck the 2 photos up here and you can compare them on the screen, but you can see how much tougher and better designed the 350Z CVs are, and the axle itself is a bit thicker and stronger as well. So I've had Matt from Lateral Motorsports machine me up these plates. So that's the 350Z axle flange that he machined up, and then welded it to the R200 stub axle thingies that will go in my diff. I was hoping I could go 4.3s or the 3.7 diff, or I got a 4.11 diff there as well, but turns out they're all different to each other. So the only diff I can run these with is the 4.3 diff. So chances are after this next event I'm going to be getting him to make me some more for a 4.11 diff, because that's the gears I really want to be running. But yeah, I'm going to whack these into this diff. I had a quick look earlier and he may have made them a tad too short, so we've got to see. We'll have a bit of a look, get that diff in there once the paint's dried, have a better look, and then worst case for now I'll just get him to machine me up a spacer, get some longer bolts for the axles, and then I'll get him to make them longer when I get them done for the 4.11 diff. Alright, so it's the next day, we're doing some more on the S14, and yes, I ended up getting the subframe back together, back in the car, as you probably would have seen on those time lapses. I had the axles test bolted in with the half shaft stub axle thingies that Matt made me, and yeah, so it turns out one of them's not bad. This side, it's just a bit short, so ideally we would have made this a bit longer, but for now I think he's just going to machine me up a spacer to put this side, and then I can just bolt it together, and then there should be no dramas, because he was just going to make me another one, but I'm probably going to get another set made up in the very near future for a 4.11 diff, because they're the gears I really want to be running. The other issue, I had one of the axles in there and getting it out was intensely difficult, and then I tried to get the other side in and could not get it in. So I'm going to see if I undo all these arms and fold that out, if I can get the axle in, because if I have to take the subframe out to get axles in and out, then that's not going to be any good, because I want to have spares. I want to be able to change them at the track. So I'm just going to unbolt the tow arm, camber arm and traction arm, and then try, the coilover's already not attached, and then try fold this out and give me enough room to get the axle in there. Alright, so I pulled those arms off and I can get the axles in, so that's all good. Alrighty, I got one side all bolted in and done. The axle is just sitting there at the moment, hooked all the brake lines and everything back up. Tomorrow I'm going to go get another set of 350Z axles as spares, and I'm also going to try to get the OEM bolts, so I can use the OEM bolts, because these ones are 8 mils, not 10 mils, and the OEM axle bolts have this fat bit here, so it's a snugger fit. So I'm going to try use OEM bolts, so I'm going to go get them tomorrow, and then I'll fold this hub out, put that other axle in with the spacer Matt makes me to go in there. But right now I'm going to whack in some GK Tech solid steering rack bushes things. So I ordered these at the same time and forgot about them, but there's little billet aluminium steering rack bushes, so it gets rid of any play that the rubber ones will have in them, give you a bit more of a solid feel. And I think they actually push the steering rack forward that tiniest bit, even though I do have the offset spacers which keep tearing boots. Damn it. That's a new boot as well. Oh, I can't win. Should probably stop running these offset spacers, but she'll be right. They keep tearing the boots. Maybe I can get bigger boots or something. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. I think you just undo these bolts here. There, and up there, and slip in some something like that. Alright, I got the solid subframe bushings in there. It was probably harder than it should have been, but yeah, I'm going to cut to tomorrow where I've got this axle spacer and these axle bolts so we can finish it all up, bleed the brakes, and then do a fat skid. Alright, it's the next day. Got my spacer, I got my axle bolts, so now we're ready to bolt this last axle in. Matt machined me up this nice spacer I'm going to use. It's going to sit on this end like that, just until I get a 411 diff and get him to make me some different stub axles to suit the 411 diff, which are going to be longer, so I don't need to run the spacer, but this will work just fine for now. The nut will still go on all the way until it's flush with the threads, which will be fine. So around the other side, not this side, but I'm going to pull all the arms off and then fold the hub out so I can slide the axle in, pop him in, hook the arms back up, hook the brake lines up, bleed the brakes, and then the car will be ready to go back on the ground. Well, that sucks. If you ever wondered what it's like to work on cars or pieces of shit, yeah, perseverance. The bolts, well, some of the holes in the axle adapters were too small and they also didn't line up perfectly, so I had to put all the bolts into the drill and then like use a file and basically machine them down so I could get them in. It was an absolute nightmare. Drama after drama after drama, but whatever. Half the time it's not my fault, but it is what it is. But we're getting there. We finally have our 350Z axles in here. Tried to get spares. Tried to pick up spares from the wreckers tonight as well, and they tried to give me 2 of one side. They were both the same length, so I got to go back tomorrow and hope that they have found the right ones and can give me a left and a right. Right, update. I got the car back together, lowered her down, and bled to, or tried to bleed the brakes up. Bled the foot brake fine, but the handbrake would not bleed. The handbrake master cylinder just decided to shit itself. It never ran out of fluid, it still had fluid in there, and could not bleed it up. The master cylinder just sounds fried. So I went ahead and got a Willwood master cylinder from GK Tech. So I got that bad boy in there now. It's pretty neat little setup. It's much nicer than the other one. So now I just got the thing that this handbrake handle attaches to this rod, that bit is a different thread pitch to that, so I'm just going to tap it out, get that on there, go ahead and bleed the handbrake up. I bought a one-man bleeder kit, so we'll see how that goes. Instead of always trying to get someone to sit there and pump brakes and stuff. give that a shot. Also bought myself a tidy little 12-volt air compressor to take to the track. Comes with a little carry bag. That's going to be sick. That's going to be real handy. I'll get this handbrake bled up, and then tomorrow morning I'm taking the car to go get an alignment for the rear end since we've had everything out and it's all out of whack. So we'll get the alignment and then give her a bit of a test rip after that tomorrow probably, and then she'll just about be good to go. Clean her up, tidy her up, and get ready to get some sets off next weekend. Down at Bar and Tire on Auto, getting her dialed in. How you travelling, bro? Minutes. Getting the positive camera in the rear dialed in, then do the rest of it. What's going on, Lukey? All loaded up. Cheers to the boys at Bar and Tire and Auto. Always getting her how I like her to feel. Make sure you come down here if you're in the Geelong area, you want any tyres or alignments or mechanical works. They do it all. Great bunch of dudes. Ended up doing like basically as much positive camber as we can get in the rear without overextending the camber arms too much, and the bolt's going to pop out. We got a bit of toe in. What did we do, like? I think it was around 2 mil toe in at either side on the rear, and then on the front we got around 2.5 to 3 mil toe out both sides. So yeah, she's going to be super snappy, just how I like it, super twitchy, super sensitive to the input on the steering wheel, and loves to snap the full lock. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. A couple days later than the footage you were just watching, we're back at home. I've just been doing some tidy up things on the S14. Just a couple of things here and there, getting her all ready. I just dumped the oil out and changed the oil filter, about to fill her up with some fresh oil. I cut open the oil filter just to see if there's any metal shavings in it. There was not, so that's always good. In the meantime, while I was doing it, I sliced my thumb open and just started pissing blood everywhere, so that's mint. But yeah, I'm just gonna get some new oil in her, and then she'll be just about ready for a test rip down the road. Well, got some disappointing news. Well, good news and bad news. Good news, we went down the street, gave the car a test, and whoo, she feels amazing. Really comes alive with the 4.3 gears. Those 3.7s really turn the car right down, but 4.3 gears, and she's a fucking animal. The road's still closed down here, so we went down the end and I did a mad tip in and did a massive 3rd gear skid. It was fucking sick, smoke everywhere, lots of cool noises and that. And Blake was outside filming with the camera, but I forgot that when you leave the camera on it goes to sleep, and I forgot to tell him that, so when he pushed the record button it didn't actually record. It's pretty heartbreaking.
Sorry guys.
No, it's my fault, but oh well, I'll put a photo on Instagram of the marks I left on the street, and we're not going to go do it again because pretty sure there's someone driving down that road right now looking for whoever just did that skid. Definitely wasn't me. Well, that's the end of this video. Unfortunately, we don't have a mad skid to put at the end, but it is what it is. You get that on the big jobs. There'll be plenty more to come. And in about 3 days, we head off to Winton for a 2-day keeper eat Reet, which is going to be fresh. Pretty confident in the car now. I reckon it's going to be getting sets off all weekend. It's going to be pretty hot weather, but I did actually put some more water misters in. So I got the ones on the radiator. Chucked a couple, 3 out the front here. They're going to spray onto the oil cooler so I can keep the oil temps down as well. But I reckon I should be laughing. So yeah, thanks for watching. Smack the like button if you enjoyed it, and stay tuned because we'll be drifting in about 3 days.